The Rio 2016 Olympics, based on the preliminary numbers, will cost $4.6 billion and be 51% over budgets. The reason that Rio is going over budget is the same as other Olympics. It's just difficult to do things like this. Rio hasn't done it before. Brazil is not a particularly easy place to do things with corruption and logistics and so on. But to be fair, 51% is actually not an extreme cost overrun, even though it's high, and of course it's a big number for $1 billion project. It's not higher than other Olympics, and it's actually lower than the most recent Olympics at Sochi in Russia and London in the UK. So Rio is doing better than those, both regarding the cost overrun and also regarding the cost. For Rio 2016 to have the cost overrun they have now is very unfortunate at this point in Brazil's history. The economy is worse than it has been for 100 years, so including the 1930s crisis. There's a huge political scandal where the president is being impeached. The oil industry has gone down because of the fall in the price of oil, but even before that there was a huge corruption scandal in Petrobras, the national oil company, which has a lot of business in the state of Rio de Janeiro, and then you put the Olympics on top of that, so it's just incredibly bad timing. You bid for the Olympics 10 years before they happen. You have no idea what the economy or your country or your city is going to be like when you get to the Olympics. This is what happened for Rio. It also happened in Athens because of high cost and cost overrun. The Greek economy was weakened by the Olympics, and then you had the economic crisis on top of that. Earlier, the same thing happened for Montreal in Canada. It took them 30 years to pay off the debt from the Olympics. So this is not an unusual thing that you have an Olympics that actually wreaks havoc in the national and local economy. The good news about Rio 2016 is that the cost overrun and indeed the cost are lower than the most recent games in Sochi in Russia and London. For the cost, it's also lower than Beijing. So Rio is not doing bad in the context of the Olympics. However, that doesn't mean that a 51% cost overrun is not a big problem on $1 billion project in an economy that already has very severe problems. Whether the cost of the Olympics and the cost overruns of the Olympics will decrease in the future is very difficult to predict. There is an argument for doing the Olympic Games in a different way that is actually being discussed now. It depends totally on how the Olympics are done. So it's very much up to the IOC who control the bid process and who controls who wins. And if the IOC decides we're going to take cost and cost overrun seriously, they can bring it down. The IOC hasn't been that concerned about that over time. They've been a bit concerned, but it hasn't been their priority. Their priority has been, it seems, to put on the greatest party on earth.